Oh. Oh, sorry. Catching up on some school assignments. Hi, Liam Leary, still a Troop 12 Eagle Scout here. And I know we're not here for another troop meeting, but that's not going to stop anyone from learning any scout skills, so come over here and I'll teach you some lashings, so come on. So the things you need for lashings are usually 2 sticks and about 18 feet of rope. The 18 feet of rope is to make sure that at the end, after you do all the steps and processes, that your structure that you just built is nice and sturdy and you could walk on it if you have to, or it's nice and strong. So the first lashing I'm going to be teaching you guys today is the square lashing. So the first thing you're going to do with these sticks is to make sure that they're in a nice perpendicular formation. Make sure they're like a T shape or a cross. See, 90-degree angles. So the purpose of the square lashing is to make sure that these 2 sticks are touching at the end of, after you're done tying it, and that they're like basically stuck. They're kind of stuck in that formation, not moving around like this, just nice and strong. So the first thing you're going to do is tie a clove hitch onto this bottom spar, we call them. These sticks are spars. I usually do on the bottom one because it's much easier. So take your rope and start tying a clove hitch. I taught you guys how to tie a clove hitch in the last episode, so if you want to learn how to do it, just click the icon right up here, or whatever, or just go find the video on the channel. So after you're done with your clove hitch, make sure it's nice and strong, like that. All right, so now you're going to take all your other rope, make sure it's clumped together nice so you don't get it wrapped around whatever you're building it upon. So make sure the clove hitch is nice and close to this other spar. And the first thing you're going to do, take the rope and move it over this, let's say, a cross spar. You're going to make sure it's nice and tight when you do that. Oh. All right, so now after you do that, what you're going to do next is going to go underneath this other spar like this. So now, and pull tight. So now you can see it's starting to make it like a little pattern. Over, under, you're going to do over this one, tight, and then under this one. I'm going to do it one more time just to show you. Usually with lashings, you want to do these wraps. These are called wraps. You're wrapping around the spars. You want to do these wraps about 3 to 5 times to make sure that your structure is nice and strong. So again, over, under. Make sure it's nice and tight. Now, over and under, and then make sure it's tight. Okay, I'm going to fast forward so I get the 5 other wraps, and I'll see you on the other side. Okay. All right, so we just did our 5 wraps. So the next step with the lashing is called what we call the fraps. So you know how you wrapped around these pieces of wood? Now for the fraps, you're going to wrap around the rope. This is to make sure that this is nice and strong. This is a little final nail in the coffin, because if you just left it like this, it's still a little wobbly, but after the little fraps, it should be nice and good. So what you're going to do, I usually go underneath this, let's say, pail spar, and just go around the little bundle of rope that you just wrapped. So make sure when you're doing the fraps, this is the most important, where you just keep it nice and tight the entire way through. So I'm just going to do it one more time, show you that. Tight. Usually if you're building a structure, I usually just hang on the little rope, like I jump, and I kind of let my body weight make sure that it's nice and taut, but since I'm doing it on a table, it's just strength. So I'm going to do this a couple more times so it's nice and strong. All right, so I'm on my last frap right now, going over, going around, and right there. So right now I'm going to end my lashing, and with all the lashings that are going to be taut, you're going to usually end it with a clove hitch. So again, X, X, and just going to do like a little clove hitch on a bite. Just going to, boom. So this is a clove hitch on a bite, so you can just easily unravel it, but that's a square lashing. So it's still a little loose. I could have tightened it a little bit more with my wraps and fraps, but it's nice and taut, kind of, and the two sticks are together. So that's the main purpose of the square lashing. So on to the next one. All right, so this next lashing is the shear lashing. It is used when you have two sticks and you tie them at the end and you make like some sort of like an A-frame type structure. It makes it look like there's two legs. So if you add another stick or spar, it would make a tripod lashing. It is a very similar knot tying process, lashing tying process. So what you're going to do, you're going to use the same knot as you did to begin this one as you did to begin the square lashing. So instead of going perpendicular like the square lashing, you're going to have the two spars perpendicular like that. Or parallel, sorry, parallel. So first thing you're going to do is tie that clove hitch. So boom, X, nope, X, put it through like that. Make sure it's nice and taut. All right, so after you do that, so we have our dark and pale spar. So what you're going to do, take the rope, go over the dark one, and then under the pale one, like so. Kind of holds it together like that. And then what you're going to do is now go over the pale one and under the dark one. So it's kind of like that. In the scout book, it says about 10 wraps. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to show you one more time. Let me show you one more time. So dark, you go over the dark, and under the pale, like so. And then over the light, under the dark. So I'm going to do that about 6 more times. That counts as 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to do that 6 more times. I'm going to fast forward. So go. All right, so I'm finishing my last wrap right now. Boom, nice and together. But they're still a little loose, so this is where the fraps come in. So with these types of fraps, again, you're going to go wrapping around your wraps, the rope itself. So let me tighten that again. So the fraps, you go underneath, get all that rope out, go underneath, and then over your rope again, and tighten as much as possible. Tighten. We're going to do that one more time. So, ooh, it's nice and tight that my fingers can't get through. So, keep on pulling your rope through. You don't want your rope to get coiled up while you're lashing. So, that, and then over. The book does not really specify how many fraps you should do. I'd say do about 5 or 6. Make sure it's nice and tight together. So I'm going to do a couple more, and I'll be right back. So now I'm finishing up my very last frap. So after doing all those, like all lashings, you're going to end with a clove hitch. So now go under. Usually you do it on the other spar that you started with. So I started on this dark spar and on the pale spar to make sure that it's nice and even and there's no real chance of it untying. So, or coming loose. So make that X, and I'm just going to do a clove hitch on a bite. So, boom. It should be a little tighter, but that is fine. Boom. It's a little messy because I don't have that much rope, or I have too much rope, more like it. Too much rope, but that is a shear lashing. So, All right, so this final lashing is going to be the diagonal lashing. It is very similar in the same style of the square lashing. It is used to tie two pieces of poles or sticks in this kind of T shape. But what makes this very different is that you kind of want a little bit of wiggle room in these two sticks. These are used to basically support a structure, kind of cause a little bit of flexibility to make sure that when you step on it, that it doesn't go too hard and break the rope, and this allows it to kind of move a little bit. So this is very different also to the other lashings I taught you, because instead of starting with a clove hitch, you're going to be starting with a timber hitch. So what you're going to do is you're going to go around both pieces of wood like so. So with the timber hitch, again, you can see my other video that I did on knots, because I did it in there, or just press the eye, whatever. So again, tight, and then wrap. Take about 3 or 4 wraps. It's not going to be tight, but that's not the purpose of the timber. It's just to start it off together. All right, so after you do that, you're going to do some diagonal lashings. So what you're going to do is going to follow that same way. You're going to go underneath both sticks, go over both sticks. Underneath both sticks, over. This is one of the most secure lashings because there's so much wrapping. These wraps are very excessive, but it's used for structure. So I'd say go around 4 times, make sure that it's nice and sturdy. So one more from me. It doesn't have to be pretty, it just has to be functional. So I'd say that's 4 right now, 4 wraps this way. So what you're going to do now is make like a little X, kind of. You're going to, instead of going this way again, you're going to go this way. So around. Again, 4 or 5 wraps this way. So over both, under both, you need a lot. 18 feet is generous for this one because it's going to be a lot of rope, because after you do the wrapping, you need to do the fraps. So again, 4 or 5, so that's 2. Start with 3. Make sure you're pulling all the way every time you go around, so make sure it's nice and sturdy. So the purpose of this, again, is to make sure that they're not touching the 2 sticks. The 2 sticks should not be touching at the end. So I'm on my last wrap right now. I don't want to fast forward this part because it's very important. So after those wraps, you're going to start with your fraps. So like all the other ones, you're going to go wrapping around the rope, pulling tightly so that it's nice and sturdy. So go over a little bit of this dark one and then just go around. So boom, like that. Pull, pull. So that's 1. Do 4. All right, so finishing up my last frap right now. I'm gonna go around one more time to right over here. What's nice about this lashing is that it ends with like all the other lashings. You're gonna end with a clove hitch. So make an X, X. Gonna do a little clove hitch on a bite. So pull that up a little bit, make a little loop like that. So that is your diagonal lashing. It can still move a little bit, but it should be nice and sturdy when you add more pieces of wood to it. So hope you guys learned about lashings today. I know I did. So as you can see, my fire is dying and the sun's going down. So tune in next week for any more scout skills. If you have any scout skills you want me to go over, put it in the comments down below. And if you want to see more episodes, hit the playlist right here and also subscribe. So thank you. See ya.